Well, boys and girls, we just saw A Quiet Place starring Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, and it is quoted as one of the best jump scare movies in a long time. And as I was leaving the theater, a woman told me that this was one of the scariest movies that she's seen in a long time.
Interesting. Well, I wasn't that scared personally, but I do think this is a very creative and effective monster film.
Now, this movie's marketed as a very scary movie, but this movie's actually not that scary. It's not like Conjuring or like Emily Rose, where it keeps you up at night and makes it hard for you to go home. Right. It's actually kind of different.
What you get here is more of a parental allegory on what it is to raise kids in a world that is overwrought with these creatures, and it kind of brings a touching narrative to the screen that a lot of horror movies failed to deliver.
Now, what's kind of cool about these movies is, it's kind of set in the near future, and you kind of wonder how you would deal with a world that's built like that. If you're watching Walking Dead, or you're watching Zombieland, or you're watching any type of these movies, you're kind of wondering how you would live, and you kind of live vicariously through these characters.
Yeah.
Now, in those movies, usually it's a band of strangers that get together and have to go out and survive this world that came crashing down on them. But this one, it's a family.
Yeah.
It's a family, it's a mother, it's a father, it's their couple of kids. And how do they survive in, this world where creatures hunt by sound?
Yeah.
They only walk on sand, they, soundproof their home, they talk through sign language. All these things, it's cool to see how they deal with this problem, which is being completely silent in order to stay alive. As I said before, it's not these band of strangers that get together. It's a parenting allegory. It shows how far these two parents would go to protect their kids.
Who are we if we can't protect them? We have to protect them.
And it's really interesting, as you see in the preview, Emily Blunt is pregnant in one of the scenes. And that's honestly one of the key scenes in this film, because at the very beginning, you get a taste of what these creatures are like, and you really understand that anybody can die. And just the fact that these creatures kill, when they hear any kind of sound, for them to decide to not abort a kid, bring them into this new world, you can see like how much tender love and care and just like they have for this family and these kids that they're caring for. And the fact that they didn't choose to do that and they choose the harder way to tell this story, I really applaud them for doing that, because it's easy to take, one kid, dies or something happens, they get sick or this or that. It's like, okay, we're not having kids anymore, we're done. It's like, no, we're not going to take that route. We love each other, we love these kids, and we're going to, live how we want to live on our own terms with this threat in the background. And when you put that into a movie, it really creates for a new, fresh, and healthy dynamic.
I personally didn't feel that much tension. I didn't feel, that scared through the movie.
Right.
And even if you're like me, you don't feel tension and you don't feel scared, it's still an enjoyable movie, because it's a really interesting and really fresh look at a monster movie and a survival movie.
Yep.
Having this family hunkered down at this house, trying to, prep their house to be as quiet as possible, surviving. It is a very interesting, it's a very fun thing to watch.
Right. Now, my final rating for A Quiet Place is an 8 out of 10. I thought this was a superior monster film. It's an hour and a half long, and I thought that was the perfect length for it. You have little intercut scenes with dialogue, not a lot because it is called A Quiet Place, but the dialogue serves a purpose, and every dialogue that's spoken or hand language that's going on comes back later on in the film. It's not drawn out, but it also feeds you enough to where, you feel satisfied at the end. I just think it's a tight film. The cast was perfect. The acting was, great. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, being married in real life, I felt brought a really good on-screen presence. They had a lot of good chemistry together, and the kids were amazing. I just think there wasn't too many down spots for me in this movie, aside from what Ken said. Like, it's not necessarily scary for me. It wasn't not too many parts where I did feel the tension, besides the part that I talked about with Emily Blunt being pregnant. But even with that, it's just a well-executed film at best.
For my rating, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now, it wasn't a scary movie, but I did think after I figured out it wasn't going to be that scary that there was going to be a lot more tension in it. I was expecting it to be kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane. You know how much tension was in that? And you
just
didn't
with the
see,
acting.
With the acting, specifically with the acting, you don't even see a monster through most of the movie.
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Yeah. I think everybody's seen
Has
it.
anyone seen it?
Yeah.
That movie?
Everybody's seen that, right?
Right, spoiler alert. But there was so much tension, there's so much intrigue in just that movie without even seeing a monster, and I thought this movie was gonna do that. And I didn't really get that, and I feel like that was the reason that this movie didn't score as well for me, because, I mean, this is a movie about being quiet.
Right.
And there was a baby in it at some point.
Right,
and I
yeah.
thought there was gonna be just an incredible amount of tension. I would be on the edge of my seat just trying and willing for this family to survive. And I mean, I was, but at the same time, not entirely. So this is definitely a movie for people who might enjoy a couple of jump scares, but it's not gonna be a scary movie for most people.
Right.
But still, a 7 out of 10 solid movie, something to watch, a very interesting movie to watch. But otherwise, yeah, I think that was a very good start for John Krasinski's directorial.
Definitely
debut.
a good start.
Well, that was a review for A Quiet Place. If you've seen it, if you liked it, you hated it, please comment below. And if you were in this movie, how would you jerry-rig your house to be quiet and to be silent, to be hidden from the monsters?
I would have speakers all around the cornfield, and I just play like the dopest records. They wouldn't know what hit
Just
them
start dancing.
until they wrecked all the speakers. But we are also on Instagram at Black and Yellow Movies, the same name, where you can catch everything that we've been doing here at Black and Yellow Movies, our movie reviews, some movie facts, as well as a lot of the stuff we've enjoyed in the last few years. So check us out on Instagram.
And we'll see you guys next time. As mentioned before, this movie is a parental allegory, and it shows how far these two parents would go to protect their kids. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say more. I was like,
I'm kind of just setting it up because we already talked about that.
yeah.